Good morning, Cedar Lane. Hello, everyone. Wow, it's wonderful to see you all here this morning. I'm so excited to see this full house of people here to celebrate with us this morning on Celebration Sunday. Yes, I am the Reverend Dana Edwards, and my pronouns are she and her. I am a cis white woman with short brown curly hair, and I am wearing a blue stole and a blue shirt and khaki pants. And as we gather for worship this morning, let us greet one another and our special guests this morning, anybody who's new for the first time, make sure they get a warm welcome from Cedar Lane members. And let's greet each other with open hearts and embark on a sacred journey together. Please turn and greet your neighbor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Abhi Janamanchi. My pronouns are he and him, one of the ministers serving Cedar Lane. And this morning I'm wearing a pink shirt, dark blue pants, and a flowery vest with a chalice pin of our faith. As we gather today, let us pause and acknowledge that we are on the ancestral lands of the Nacotchtank and the Piscataway Conoy peoples, as well as the land where enslaved African people and their descendants toiled without choice or recompense. We honor their enduring presence, wisdom, and stewardship of this land throughout generations past, present, and future.
Welcome to Cedar Lane UU congregation. I am the Reverend Ali Casey Bell. My pronouns are he or they, or you can use my title, Reverend, and my first name, Ali. I'm wearing a shades of blue stole, a dark blue paisley vest, a dark blue tie, and gray pants with black shoes. And in this inclusive community, we embrace you for who you are, whom you love, wherever you find yourself on life's journey, and whatever your beliefs, sexual orientation, gender identity, documentation status, or disability, you are warmly invited to bring your whole self and join us in co-creating worship together.
A heartfelt welcome to our newcomers and guests this morning, whether you're joining us in person or online today. If you're new, or still feeling new and feel comfortable doing so, please raise your hand or introduce yourself in the chat so we can acknowledge and greet you with a small token of appreciation. I know we have quite a few newcomers here today, some visiting from out of state.
Yes.
Let us give our friends a warm Cedar Lane welcome.
Woo!
And a very special welcome to our dear friend and colleague, the Reverend Bill Sinkford.
Yes.
Who needs no introduction, happens to be the transitional minister at All Souls, and before that he served Portland, congregation in Oregon for many years, and before that he just hung out in Boston for a few years to serve as our UUA president. Welcome, Bill.
Welcome, Bill. After the service, we invite all newcomers and visitors to join us for a delicious luncheon in the fellowship hall, which is right through those doors. Just follow the crowd.
And the sanctuary.
And the sanctuary, that's right. And if you're interested in learning more about Unitarian Universalism or getting involved in our congregation, please take a moment to fill out the newcomer form. It'll be linked in the chat if you're online, or you can return it to our greeters, the ones that just gave you the little red bag. So stay updated on Cedar Lane's news and events, and sign up for our weekly newsletter on our website's homepage at www.cedarlane.org.
And if you feel called to deepen your involvement and contribute to our mission, we invite you to consider taking the next step on your spiritual journey by joining Cedar Lane as a member.
Yes.
Your presence enriches our community, and we welcome you with open hearts. If you are so moved to join, please see Reverend Ali after the service, and he will walk you through
it.
All right.
That's what I'll do. And our caring ministry team serves as an extension of the ministry here at Cedar Lane. Tim Persons over here, he's a dedicated member of the team and is available to offer you support in person. Thank you, Tim.
Today is Celebration Sunday.
Woo!
All right. It is a time for us to gather together and celebrate the vibrant spirit, resilience, and mission of our religious community.
Together we reflect on the journey we've traveled, embracing both the triumphs that have shaped us and the challenges that have strengthened our resolve.
Together, we pause to remember all who have gone before us, whose love, labor, and sacrifice helped create and sustain this religious community.
And together, we renew our commitment to the mission and ministry of our religious community as we strive to build a beloved community where we all are embraced and loved.
In this spirit, we gather.
In this spirit, we worship.
Be proud, let them hear me when I cry out loud. And if I tremble, I will take your hand. And so together, let our voices be strong. Let our voices be strong. Let our voices be proud. Let them hear us when we cry out loud. And if we tremble, we will join our hands. And so together, let our voices be strong. Let our voices be strong. Let our voices be strong. Let our voices be proud. Let our voices be proud.
Hello. I am David Devlin Foltz, the worship associate for today's service. My pronouns are he, him. I am a short, white, cisgender heterosexual male in my late 60s. Today I'm wearing a turquoise and black and white checked shirt, a green vest, and dark gray pants. Okay, we've established that. I have glasses, brown hair, and a graying beard. In our Unitarian Universalist tradition, we light a chalice each time we gather as a symbol of our faith and our gathered community. Every week, we invite individuals, families, or groups who enliven and inspire our community. We ask them to kindle the chalice flame. Would members of the generosity team come forward to illuminate our chalice today? Please rise in body or in spirit to share the chalice lighting words. As we gather on this celebration Sunday, we ignite this chalice to illuminate our path forward. May its gentle love inspire us to build a new way. Let us embrace generosity, compassion, and gratitude. And let us embrace the spirit of abundance and cultivate a community where all are valued and welcomed. With hearts full of gratitude, we embark on this day of celebration, ready to create a brighter, more inclusive future together.
That's fun.
Yeah.
We good?
It's sometimes fun to have a three-part chalice lighting. It's almost like doing a round, you know? You were all going in one direction, and we were all going in another direction. Because we didn't update our script.
Yeah,
Which is fun.
that also happened.
So, once upon a time, in a valley where rain was scarce and the land was parched, there lived a drop of water named Higgins. But you see, Higgins was not any ordinary drop of water. He was a drop with a dream.
He sure was. Higgins lived in a valley where it had not rained in a very, very long time. So all the lovely grass was turning brown. All the beautiful flowers were wilting, and all the trees were starting to droop.
Higgins had a dream that one day the valley would be a beautiful place again. But what could he do? After all, he was only a drop of water.
One day, Higgins decided to travel and tell others about his dream. All the other drops listened politely, but no one believed that his dream would come true.
Higgins said, one drop, "Get your head out of the clouds. You can't spend your whole life dreaming."
Higgins decided that he had to do something to make his dream come true. So he began to think and think and think.
And one day, as he was walking by a rusty old bucket, he got an idea. If enough of us drops of water got together in this bucket, Higgins thought, there would be enough water to sprinkle on a few flowers to help them grow and become beautiful again.
Eagerly, Higgins told everyone his great idea. But everyone thought he was being foolish. That Higgins, they said, he's nothing but a dreamer.
So Higgins decided he had to do something to convince the others that he was right. So he said to them, I don't know about you, but I'm getting into the bucket. I hope some of you will join me. Then there might be enough water to help at least some flowers grow beautiful again.
So Higgins ran as hard as he could, hopped way up in the air, and landed with a kerplunk in the bottom of the bucket.
And there he sat, just a drop in the bucket.
Aww. For a long time, Higgins was very lonely. It seemed like no one else was going to join him. But after a while, some of the other drops could see that the grass was dying, the flowers were wilting, and the trees were drooping. They all agreed, something must be done.
Suddenly, one drop shouted, I'm going into the bucket with Higgins. And he leaped through the air and landed kerplunk in the bucket.
Then the other drops yelled, wait for us. And they hopped through the air and landed in the bucket, kerplunk.
Kerplunk.
Then 10 drops jumped through the air into the bucket. Then 30, then 50, and then hundreds of drops came from all around just to hop in the bucket. Kerplunk, kerplunk, kerplunk,
Kerplunk. Soon the bucket was completely full of water, but there were still more drops that wanted to join, so they found one another and found another bucket and hopped in, and before long there were 2 buckets of water, then 3, then 5, then 10, and then hundreds, and then thousands and thousands of buckets of water.
Wow. Along came a powerful breeze that blew over all the buckets, and all the water flowed together to make a mighty river.
And everywhere the water flowed, the grass turned green. It turned green again, and the flowers bloomed, and the trees stood tall and straight once more.
As the water flowed and rejuvenated the land, it carried with it a message of hope and resilience. For in the journey toward building a beloved community, every drop, no matter how small, plays a vital role.
And all this happened because Higgins dared to dream, and his dream became a reality. He understood that although he was just a drop in the bucket, enough drops, when they come together, they create a bucketful.
And when there are enough buckets, propelled by the winds of change, abundance flows, and the community thrives once more. So please, rise in body and spirit to sing, There's a River Flowing in My Soul. Children and youth will depart for their enrichment activities during the second verse. You have entered the moment of announcements. In our worship, announcements serve as a vital component reflecting the interconnectedness and collective engagement of this congregation. They are invitations to engage, celebrate, and support one another's journeys, embodying our commitment to nurturing fellowship and building community.
That was so good.
I know, you wrote it, right?
Please join us for a riveting conversation with renowned Washington Post columnist Karen Tumulty about the 2024 election on Thursday, March 28th at 7:30 p.m. in the sanctuary and online. It promises to be an exciting conversation, folks, so join us.
Yes, and join us for Easter services next Sunday at 10:30. There will also be special outdoor family service by the memory wall with craft stations and our traditional annual Easter egg hunt for children and youth.
Yes.
For children and youth.
That's right. Yep. We're calling all teens ages 16 to 18 to join us for the Youth Democracy Summit on Saturday, April 6th with Unitarian Universalist youth from across Montgomery County to learn how to protect our democracy from fascism and extremism.
And to learn how to earn money working at the polls. That's what got my son to sign up.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. And Celebration Sunday Luncheon after service is happening today, and we need a few good volunteers to assist in setting up the sanctuary for the luncheon. And your help in arranging tables and chairs will ensure a seamless transition for our meal service.
And which is very important, folks. You know, why do we come to Cedar Lane? There you go.
Good job.
For those of us who are visiting, we are a food-based religion, so we just like to be upfront about our motivations. And the rest of us are invited to enjoy fellowship and coffee in the courtyard outside while the food is being laid out here in the sanctuary and it's being arranged. And it would be great to just hang out there and socialize, have some good fellowship, and then we will all be invited back into the fellowship hall and the sanctuary for a wonderful feast. So,
Yes, and before we conclude, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all of those who have contributed to making this Celebration Sunday truly special.
So, please rise and remain rising, and let us hold our applause until the end. If you are on the generosity team,
if you shared an affirmation,
if you assisted in coordinating between the generosity team and other teams like the environmental justice team or grounds or the auction team,
if you provided advice on catering, setup, or other planning, please rise.
if you stuffed envelopes, please rise.
If you took photos and videos, go ahead and rise on up, Mary Means.
If you helped with setup and cleanup for today's luncheon,
And the construction team and the contractors and the AV team and everyone involved who worked tirelessly to bring us to this day, please rise.
thank you for being an integral part of our community. And making this day happen. Thank you.
Thank you. And now let us move into the space for naming and sharing the joys and sorrows of our community and beyond.
Let us now take a moment to ground ourselves and fully immerse in the present moment, invoking all the wellsprings of love that reside within, among, and around us. In this cherished community where we discover connection and purpose, this compassionate gathering where we can freely share our joys and sorrows, finding solace, affection, and even restoration, we unite to create a sacred sanctuary for each other, to bear and embrace the joys and sorrows of all present, and to keep close in our hearts those absent from our midst this morning. Within our Cedar Lane community, we send healing wishes to Helen Pekacek, who is at home recovering from hip surgery. We also extend our condolences to Dave and Candace Haga on the passing of Dave's great aunt, Betty Barnett. Betty passed away peacefully on March 5th in home hospice in Memphis, Tennessee, at the age of 96. We join in celebrating with all those who are commemorating life's milestones and anniversaries. May these moments of joy be filled with love and cherished memories. Our caring extends beyond these walls, embracing all who are touched by loss, strife, and calamities in our world. In the wake of Friday's tragic terror attack in Moscow, our hearts ache for the lives lost and the families affected by this senseless violence. In our hearts, we also hold the memory of those lost to ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Israel, Ukraine, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. As we enter into this shared moment of silence, those who are mourning a loss are invited to rise, whether physically or in spirit, and offer the names of their loved ones into the silence. May we hold the silence as the silence holds us. Bud Foltz. Penny Foltz.
Please be seated. God, known by many names, on this celebration Sunday, remind us of who we have dreamed ourselves to be. Let us live into those aspirations, reaching the self that unites justice to love, to action. May we learn to solve conflict without destroying each other and practice those lessons so that our passions are channeled into building the just world we so desperately seek. In our joyous and in our saddest moments, let us find connection to our communities of support. Let us know that we are not alone, that we are better than our worst actions, that we are human on our best days, fallible and holy, and that we are destined to thrive. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
act of giving and receiving, a ritual that embodies the values at the heart of our Unitarian Universalist faith and our beloved community. As we pass the offering plate during our service, we publicly declare that the act of giving is essential to our individual and collective growth, and that we publicly declare that the reason for our giving is to build community in service of a life larger than our own. Today, we are privileged to share our offering to support the vital work of Rebuilding Together Montgomery County, an organization dedicated to revitalizing homes and communities, embodying our shared commitment to compassion and justice in action. Let us welcome Greg Falsino to share more about Rebuilding Together and the impact of its work. Welcome, Greg.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Greg Falsino. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a cis white male, and I unveiled my Rebuilding Together Montgomery County t-shirt for you. This morning, I'm here representing the many of us, Cedar Laners, who have worked with RTMC. We've worked on Springtime National Rebuilding Day projects. Some of us work year-round in their handyman program. Some have served on their board, or the National Rebuilding Together board. So imagine with me, you are a homeowner. Through long savings and everything else it took, it's yours. But imagine your family situation changed. Your prices changed. Your abilities changed. And now your stairs are unsafe. Your house is cold in the winter. The water leaks. And fixing it is all out of reach. Montgomery County has thousands of these stories. RTMC exists to return these houses back to safe, warm, and dry. Nothing fancy. Today's Share the Plate will help RTMC identify these homeowners, apply for grants, bring in the roofers, the plumbers, and volunteers like us, all free to the homeowner. Maybe you recall me standing here a few years back sharing this story. My daughter Sarah was one of our National Rebuilding Day volunteers that year. Sarah's social media post that day was a picture of working with Cedar Laners and the caption, "No better way to spend a Saturday." I agree. Thank you.
Yes, it's love, that's the spirit of this church.
I love riding the new elevator.
I love working on the spring auction celebration.
I am so happy to give my time, talents, and treasure to Cedar Lane, and I'm ready to fill out a pledge card.
That's the spirit. Love is the spirit. Oh, it's love. Yes, it's love. Yes, it's love. That's the spirit of this church. On the walls, those people want to gather. People is the name of the spirit of this church. That's the spirit. Love is the spirit. That's the spirit. Love is the spirit. That's the spirit. Love is the spirit. That's the spirit of
Love's the spirit of this church, all right. Thank you, Libby. Thank you, choir. Thank you, congregation. I'm Reverend Bill Sinkford. I am a cisgender, African-American, male-identified human person. My pronouns are he and him. I'm wearing black shirt and pants and a pink and cream stole. And I am very glad to be back here at Cedar Lane this morning. Very glad to be with you as you begin to live into this beautiful space, the space that your generosity and your commitment has transformed, the space that your faith has transformed, because it's your faith that has worked this miracle. Yes, I know, your financial gifts helped as well. Dollars and cents, I know. We understand in this church how the world works, but it was your faith in what happens in this space and what could happen in this space that made this possible. The transformation of this space was not a transaction. It was not a purchasing. It was an act of faith, a declaration that even in this Good Friday world, hope still lives here at Cedar Lane. That despair is not the destination of this community. This space is an affirmation that a new way can be navigated and that better days lie ahead. And that the progress you make, the deep learnings that you discover, the liberation that you create here is a gift not only for you and for your children, but somehow also and ultimately a contribution to the world's transformation as well. Transformation of this space is a profound leap of faith in this community where love works. I'm so glad to be back in this pulpit, and I bring you greetings from All Souls Church, where I now serve, All Souls, out of which Cedar Lane was born in 1951. Those families that had moved out of D.C. to the suburbs and gathered at the Chevy Chase Women's Club listening to A. Pal Davies preach over the telephone, those families that left that prominent church in D.C. to create a new church here, that was a leap of faith. Are there any members of those founding families here today or online? Anyone here? It was a long time ago. Perhaps not. Now, Origin stories still carry on even when those who are present have passed away or left. And those origin stories can get idealized. And I don't want to encourage you in that. Part of the reason for the creation of Cedar Lane was the complexion of DC, of Chocolate City. Cedar Lane, in fact, became the 4th largest UU church in the country as the DC public schools desegregated. White flight's a part of your story too, and your hopes for multiculturalism today need to remember that part of your story as well. I also remember visiting Cedar Lane for the first time in the 1990s when Roger Fritz was your senior minister, and Reverend Bobby Nelson was Minister of Religious Education. Yes, Bobby was one of the creators and very public defenders of Our Whole Lives, the human sexuality curriculum that is one of the most important contributions this faith has ever made. Good applause for that. How many of you remember those days? How many? Let's see the hands. Quite a few folks here were here back then. OWL was another leap of faith, a declaration that the association of human sexuality and sinfulness was a major wrong turn in our culture and in most faith traditions. It was a leap of faith to declare that there was a better way, liberating our children from that life-denying theology. It was another leap of faith. And I remember being here when you called Abhi 10 years ago. Quite a few of you were here then. How many? Let's see the hands. There you go. And I remember preaching for his installation about belief and about love. The DNA that Cedar Lane inherited from All Souls centered on religious belief, progressive religious belief, but belief. It was from the neck up, if you will. And my sermon that day was that it was as important as belief is, and belief is important. We invest a lot of energy dealing with what we believe and what we don't believe. But as important as our beliefs are, what matters most is what we belove. I went back to the early Germanic roots of the word belief, to belieben, which means to belove. And I spoke of the ways that we ask our young people to develop their credos, which we think means I believe. It actually means what I set my heart upon. Credo is all about what we belove. It was a good sermon back then. It's not a bad sermon today. Calling Abhi Janamanchi was another leap of faith for Cedar Lane. A brown UU minister, an immigrant, a Hindu UU. In the sermon, I urged you not to assume that your new brown minister would magically change the complexion of this congregation, nor did it. But looking out here this morning, there has been some change over time. The congregation I see this morning is different from the congregation I saw 10 years ago. Just as the world here in suburban Maryland has shifted, and the world down in DC has shifted too. Your calling Abhi was another leap of faith, another declaration that the way things have been is not the way that things have to be. And there have been other leaps of faith in this congregation's life, deciding to be a sanctuary church and a commitment to not only multicultural, but multi-religious life. Those are leaps of faith. The story of Cedar Lane has been, though there are many through lines, the story of Cedar Lane more than anything else has been the story of leap of faith after leap of faith that there can be a better way. Now, I'm a minister, not a scientist, and I know that there are serious scientists in this crowd. I trust that some of those folks will correct me if I get this wrong, but Do you know that this pulpit, this solid pulpit, is actually 99% not solid matter at all? It's actually all space. At the atomic and the subatomic level, this pulpit is only a temporary ordering, a temporary organization, if you will, of energy and a very small amount of hard stuff, of what we would think of as matter. This pulpit is a temporary creation. The wood will eventually decompose. You know, stay with me now. We know that matter can change, that water becomes ice when it gets cold, and it becomes vapor when it gets very hot. We know this. Conditions matter a great deal, but change is happening all the time. And we know this from the neck up, but the world appears so solid. It's hard to remember just how much a process of creation and change is taking place in us and around us all the time. There's a wonderful piece that I encountered recently entitled Eulogy from a Physicist by Aaron Freeman. It suggests that a physicist could offer a comforting eulogy at a memorial service because the physicist could speak to how the matter and energy, that is who we are, lives on. It just never ends. That's right. Here's a piece. You want the physicist to explain to those who loved you that they need not have faith. Let them know that they can measure, that scientists have measured precisely the conservation of energy, and they've found it accurate and verifiable and consistent across time and space. According to the law of the conservation of energy, not a bit of you is gone. You are just less orderly. Just less orderly. Now, this pulpit is not a hard, unchanging object. It is a temporary ordering of energy and matter. This pulpit is a creative event, just as this transformed sanctuary is a creative event, just as each and every one of you is a creative event, whether you recognize it or not. And there's a theology that goes with this physics, a theology that speaks to creation as the constant and creativity as the religious assignment. Creativity as the religious assignment. Building a new way is the fundamental religious task, the fundamental human truth. Building a new way is always on our agenda. Your support of Cedar Lane is a blessing, but it's not a transaction, not a paying for, or not only a paying for the value that you've found here. Your support for Cedar Lane is a commitment to the transformation that can take place in this beautiful transformed space. The space is ready. The question is whether your spirits are ready. Because your support now requires another leap of faith into a creative future, into a future of love. You know, we who stand at pulpits can try to inspire change. We can suggest some new ways. We can support change when it's in process. We can even get out of the way of change if we are wise. But ministers are not saviors. We are servants, servants of the gathered people. And the change that can take place here is for you to welcome and embrace in yourselves and in this beautiful space. And look around. Change has come. Change is coming. A new way is being created by this gathered community in this transformed space. But there are questions. What is the spiritual transformation that you are called to make? What is your commitment? Where is your creativity needed today? Many people, many of you perhaps, speak about the church of Cedar Lane as a place of connection. Speak of the importance of community, especially coming out of COVID. And there's a time-honored tradition of the church being the experience and the place that allows you to get through the week. The place where you find enough support and challenge, enough affirmation and inspiration so that you can survive a world that offers so little of those things. The church helps us keep on keeping on. That's an honored tradition of the church. And this is a tough time out in the world. So divisive. Such energy trying to push back the modest progress that we have managed to create. Voting rights, the women's right to health care, affirmative action, all being rolled back. Inequality we have not seen even in the Gilded Age of this country. Xenophobia, transphobia rising, the climate crisis. You know the list. You live the list out in the world. And we all know, don't we, that we need a new way. That this particular creation we are living through, without some significant changes, does not point us toward a hopeful future. You know that. There's a revolution taking place, but it's not the revolution so many of us have worked for. It's a revolution to try to take us backward. And any confidence that the slow progress toward beloved community, any confidence that there was enough traction and enough momentum to sustain that movement forward, well, it is not hard to feel hopeless. It's not hard to feel that there is no way forward. It can feel like what we need is a way out of no way. A way out of no way. And there have been, without a doubt, 1 million sermons preached on that topic. And many of those sermons have justified hope by calling up the experience of overcoming past oppression, by past leaps of faith that have opened new ways forward. Reverend and now Senator Raphael Warnock made A Way Out of No Way the title of his memoir. And he preached on this text at Ebenezer Baptist. We know how to make a way out of no way, he preached. They fed us scraps and we created soul food. They gave us the blues and we created American music. They gave us the Bible and servants obey your masters, and we stumbled on the book of Exodus and the story of liberation. We know how to make a way out of no way. And we affirm that message here at Cedar Lane and in Unitarian Universalism. But we would add, they gave us heterosexism, and we created pride and marriage equality. They gave us patriarchy, and we embraced women's empowerment. They gave us ableism, and we built ramps. They gave us rigid gender roles, and we created our whole lives. They gave us privilege and poverty, and we are even trying to create repair and reparations and equity. They gave us a grim world of greed and competition, and we are trying to create a world of abundance and a world of joy. Finding a way out of no way is what this faith and this church does. And it is that creative endeavor that you are asked to support today. That creative and hopeful energy that refuses to accept a world of scarcity, that insists that love can work and that lives of abundance can be in your future. Now, who is this they that I was talking about that insists on division and scarcity? Well, there are some folks who carry special responsibility for that unfairness. There are. but we are all part of the system that serves up these obstacles to beloved community. Especially those of us who live in some even modest privilege. These challenges live in us too. We do not need to buy into a world of good people versus bad people. We are universalists, after all. And the liberation we seek is liberation for us all. And we know how to make a way out of no way, because as a people, as a religious people, a way out of no way is how we got this far. I'm here to tell you that this is going to be a tough year. The energy to move us backwards is very real. We can look to all the ways we have overcome in the past, and we should. I love that energy. But this is our time now. This is your time now. Our time to open paths so that love can work and give us strength. Our time to companion one another, to hold each other up. Our time to be faithful to our vision, to embrace a transformation of the Spirit to match the transformation of this space. Our time to build the world we dream about and build it here. Our time now to build a new way. Ashe and amen.
Building a new way. Bill, that was it. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. And I was afraid when you said installation, you were going to say coronation. Because that's what some people said happened that day. So, Wow. Wow. So, Celebration Sunday. It's a day of rededication when we renew our commitment to the values that bind us together in this faith community of connection, growth, and hope. And as Bill pointed out in his sermon, Celebration Sunday isn't about presenting you with a laundry list of financial needs. You know, our budget deficit, the costs of light, heating, and air conditioning, our cleaning supplies and, office supplies, staff salaries and benefits. While these are all essential, they are not the heart of our gathering today. Yes, meeting these needs allows us to sustain and expand our ministries and our programs, to enhance our facilities, and to amplify our impact as a force for justice and love in our world. But when our focus narrows solely to these needs, we risk reducing our sacred covenant to a commercial transaction, a mercantile exchange. Because in this model, a religious community provides a package of services for which consumers are obligated to pay. We become a service provider religion. And in this model, there is no growth for spirit or self-understanding. There is only quid pro quo. So Celebration Sunday is about something deeper. It is about our collective mission, our shared purpose to shine brightly in the world, to embody joy, service, compassion, and love. And no amount of money can fulfill this mission if it is solely aimed at institutional maintenance. And it certainly can't be achieved if the burden solely falls on a few shoulders. You see, it takes each of us and all of us, like those water drops in the story, to help our beloved community flourish. Our mission is to cultivate the beloved community that embodies breadth and depth, hospitality and welcome, joy and courage, endurance and tenderness, goodness and fairness, humility and forgiveness, prophecy and transformation, that nurture, challenge, educate, serve, and inspire people to live lives of hope, integrity, and service. Our mission is to teach and to model the durability of our Unitarian Universalist faith, to demonstrate how outrage can be sustained by hope, how anger can be conquered by love, how bigotry and prejudice can be overcome by acceptance and compassion, and how violence can be transformed by peace. Our mission is to continue the anti-racist, anti-oppressive, multicultural, and pluralistic ministry that our faith calls us to do, to heal the wounds of centuries of oppression, injustice, and prejudice, to celebrate our common humanity. And our mission is to deepen our humanity, to foster love, to cultivate self-awareness, to discern wisely, and to embody humility, gratitude, and generosity in all that we do. So celebrating our commitment is an intentional spiritual practice that helps us live into the mission of our community. It's an act of gratitude, of counting the blessings of our community. It's an act of hope in the possibilities of our future. It is an act of faith in the saving and healing message of Unitarian Universalism. So today, friends, I invite you to go to that place of understanding, appreciation, and gratitude for our faith, our mission, and our community, to make a commitment to be an active and engaged participant in our ministry. In your commitment, whether through your financial pledge or your volunteer efforts or simply being present, is vital to our shared journey. And I want to emphasize that pledging is not a requirement to belong to this community. It is not about obligation, but about love and gratitude. And so whether you've been with us for years or are just joining us, your engagement is valued regardless of your financial commitment. I hope you're hearing me. Okay. And so for our newcomers and guests, please know that there is absolutely no pressure to pledge. Take your time to explore and connect with us. We are so grateful that you took a chance, a risk to be with us today. And we look forward to getting to know you better. So, are we ready? All right. So I invite you now to take a moment to review the pledge cards that were inserted into your order of celebration. Whether it's the physical copy or digitally through a QR code. And if you're using the QR code, it'll take you straight to our online giving platform where you can make your pledge electronically. On the pledge cards, please provide your name and your email, and then indicate how much you wish to pledge for the next congregational year, 2024-25. And if you're pledging online, you'll have the option to select how often you'd like to give, whether you'd like to give monthly, annually, quarterly, daily, hourly. I guess we have all those options. And I heard that you can now also pledge with cryptocurrency. So if some of you know how to do that, feel free. And if you're able to make an annual commitment for next year, please indicate the amount that you intend to pledge. And once you're done, take a moment to double check your info. Make sure you have the right zeros. And friends, please fill out the pledge card even if you cannot make a financial commitment at this time. Share your hope, your dream for this, your religious community. Or share something of what you are able to give. Take a moment and let us enjoy the beautiful music from Libby as we fill out our pledge cards. Beautiful. It is now time for us to celebrate our collective commitment. I invite those who feel called to make a financial pledge to come forward at this time. I invite you to come up row by row and place your folded pledge cards in the offering baskets that our generosity team members are ready to receive. And then please return to your seats. As you do so, know that your generosity is an expression of your love and dedication to our shared mission. And again, for our newcomers and guests, we invite you to enjoy the beautiful music and witness this sacred moment. So let us approach this time with open hearts and gratitude as the offering is now given and gratefully received.
There will be better days. 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 Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. There will be better days. I am there will be better days. There will be better days. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. I am already under. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. I am already under. There will be better days. Let the wave wash over me. There will be better days. 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 There will be better days.
In the name of all that is holy, let us consecrate these pledges as symbols of our commitment and devotion to our shared journey.
Let the pledges serve as a sacred reminder that we are all called to serve, to grow, and to love as we continue this journey of transformation.
Let the connections between us inspire and sustain us, igniting the flame of life within us and amongst us.
Renewed in heart, hand, mind, and spirit, let us carry the light of compassion and courage as we go forth into the world that awaits us.
Let us embrace the work that calls us to change the world for the better with passion and faith.
And as we minister to those around us, let our actions be a testament to the power of our love and commitment to justice, compassion, and peace.
Blessings be upon you, now and always.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. And amen. Please rise in body, and in spirit to sing Siya Hamba.